In this video, we're going to be talking about what I consider the 10 most important open chords that any beginner guitar player should know. Hey, Steve Stine from GuitarZoom here. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to be looking at 10 of what I consider the most important open chords that any guitar player should learn. Certainly beginners should learn to be able to play a lot of different songs and things like that. Now, I want to say that there's two most important things about this though. Number one, you don't have to learn all 10 of these right away. You're going to want to choose whichever ones seem most important to you depending on what maybe your guitar instructor says or the kinds of songs that you're learning how to play, that sort of thing. And number two, there's lots of different ways to play these chords, so I'm going to talk about a couple of different ways that you can play these, the different fingers that you can use, that sort of thing. So just understand that if you play a certain chord differently than I do or somebody else does, that doesn't mean it's wrong. You just need to find what works most important or what works best for you. And the last thing is that at the end of this video, I'm going to do a little bonus section where I talk about what I consider the most important chords to start with. All right, so let's get going. All right, so we're going to talk about 6 major chords and 4 minor chords that I think are really important for you to know. So let's start off with the major ones. The first one is going to be the A major chord. Now remember, when we're talking about major chords, we don't have to say major, you can just say A. And you might play it with 3 fingers like this, or 3 fingers like this, or 1 finger like this. Again, everybody plays it differently, but that A major chord is very important to learn. The second chord we're going to talk about is the C major chord. And you might play it like this. Some people might play it like this. You might see it like this. This is what we call a C add 9. But that's a really comfortable way of playing it to add other chords in as well. But whatever works for you. But that C chord is really important as well. All right, moving on. The next chord, the third chord, is going to be the D major or D chord. All right. That triangle right there, and you probably play it with these fingers. We want to strum those bottom 4 strings. But that D chord is very, very important for us to learn how to play. All right, next up, another really important one is the E major or E chord. All right, so I have 0, 2, 2, 1, 0, 0. Usually played with these 3 fingers. You know, you might see somebody play it like this or something, but usually it's these 3 fingers. But that's another really important one. All right, next up we have the F chord, and this one's kind of brutal if you're not very experienced with it. So I want to show you a couple different ways that you can play this F chord. So one way you might play this is by pressing on these 2 strings at the same time at the first fret, and then you've got your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, and then your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and you just want to strum those bottom 4. So that's probably the easiest way to start playing the F chord. Okay. There is what we call the bar chord version as well, where we press on all 6 strings at the same time. Okay. No matter what, either way, it's more difficult than playing an A or an E chord or something like that. So again, the F might be a chord that goes on the back burner to begin with, but just be aware that it is an important chord for us to learn. And last for our major chords, which I think is probably the most important one, is the G chord. So the G chord, you'll often see this played with 3 fingers like this, or even 3 fingers like this, or as I play it most of the time is a 4-finger G like this. But again, it doesn't matter. Whatever works best for you, that's the most important thing. All right, now let's look at the A minor chord. We're going to look at the 4 minor chords. So the A minor looks like this. Very important chord to learn, very common chord that we use in songs, the A minor chord. All right, next up we have another brutal chord. This is the B minor chord. B minor and F are the 2 that most people struggle with. So B minor looks like this if we're going to play it. Again, the easiest way, but yet still full sounding, would be something like this, where we're playing first finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, middle finger on the 2nd string on the 3rd fret, and then we have these 2 fingers on the 4th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings like this. And we can only strum those bottom 4 strings like that. If you're used to doing bar chords at all, you can take your first finger and bar across all 5 strings like this, and that would give you 1 extra note to play up here. But either way would be fine. Again, I wouldn't start with the B minor just as much as I wouldn't start with the F. I would start with those other chords first and then develop into playing the B minor or the F when it's needed. All right, next up we have the D minor chord. Okay, D minor looks like this. So we've got first finger on the first string, first fret. We've got the ring finger on the second string, third fret. And we've got the middle finger on the third string, second fret. We can strum those bottom four like this. D minor. And lastly, we have, again, one of the most important chords on the guitar, the E minor chord, which looks like this. So I'm just pressing on the fifth and fourth strings of the second fret. Now again, some people will play with these fingers. Whatever works for you is most important. All right, now let's go into the bonus section, but I do want to remind you, please do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video. Any of that sort of thing helps a lot. And please do me a favor as well. Check out GuitarZoom.com and check out our all-access guitar membership, all right? So in this section, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about some of the most important chords that I think you should start with and why. Now, a lot of times when I start talking about chords with beginner students, we'll talk about something simple like the A chord because it's easy to play, right? It doesn't mean that it's always going to be, sound perfect or anything like that, but the idea of putting 3 fingers in a row is fairly straightforward. It takes a little while to get all the notes to work and such, okay? And then you can learn songs like, I'll use Electric Avenue, for instance, if you've ever heard that song before, which is just really an A chord all the way through. So that's a really nice one to learn how to play that chord. Next chord I'll teach is the E minor chord, and we'll learn something like Horse with No Name, where I'm moving from E minor and I'm just teaching them how to stretch out like that, just back and forth, to learn how to play Horse with No Name. But that's a really good one. But to be honest, the group of chords that we tend to play the most would be G, C, and D, those 3 chords together. G, C, and D. And then ultimately adding E minor into that. Those 4 chords, we could play literally thousands of songs. So learning how to play the G, C, and D. Now I have lots of different videos that will teach you how to play these chords. I have one called the G, C, D chord trick that will show you how to try and play those chords a little bit more efficiently. I have videos that talk about bouncing, which is another thing that you could learn how to do if you're struggling at all with learning some of these chords or getting them fast, getting them clean, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different videos out there that I have that might be able to help you with this. And again, I just want to remind you, if you head over to GuitarZoom.com, I have all kinds of different learning materials for guitar players there as well. So take care, stay positive, keep practicing, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?